Alright, so at the beginning of this video, and we're going to come back to this at the end, I want to start something. I've been meaning to do this for a while, but I want to go ahead and rank every single Disney animated film to this point. The Black Cauldron marks the 25th Walt Disney Animation Studios feature film, and this marks the 20th episode in reviewing the classics. And so, I want to go ahead and I want to rank all of these films. Putting them all in each of these tiers: amazing, loved, great, good, average, bad, garbage, don't remember. Probably will get rid of this, probably might change the names, but the idea is that all the films are going to go in each of these categories, and my goal is that by the end of the series, every single Disney animated feature will have a place, and we're going to start from the top all the way working to the most recent film, being the Black Cauldron, which we'll come back and put in its place once I've completed my review. We're going to start with Snow White, though. This is an amazing film. This is a film that I think really changed Disney animation, and it's a film that I really appreciate for doing that. Next, we've got Pinocchio, which I would say is great. I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but I would say it's pretty up there. Then we've got Fantasia. And Fantasia, I would almost put in the great category, or the amazing. I'm not sure, but I'm going to put it right here for now. Dumbo, I'm going to put that in the bad category. I'd put it in average. I can say it's not a great film, and there's a lot of issues with it. But when it needs to be emotional, it really does do that successfully. And you really feel the emotion of, Dumbo and his mother. Also going to zoom out a little bit. So I really think that, Dumbo has a lot working for it. It also has a lot working against it. But I don't dislike the film per se. I just don't think it's a favorite. Maybe I do dislike it, honestly. I'll just put it there. Bambi, we're going to put in, I think, the good category. No, sorry, amazing. I think Bambi is an amazing film. And from my understanding, why am I going further out? No, I want to do this. From my understanding, it's like best first and then least best going this way. So this would be the top tier. Bambi, I want to put above it because honestly, I do prefer Bambi over Snow White, but there's a lot of films I prefer over Snow White. But I still think these two films definitely deserve this spot. Actually, I think I can make another category really quick. If I can figure out how to do this. Add a row. Oh, wait. Yeah, I know what I do. All right, so up here, we're going to do add a row above, and we're going to call this Game Changer. And these are basically animated films that, were really big for Disney. I don't know if I need this. We might keep it for now. Maybe at the end we'll do something with it. Then we have all the films of the wartime era. Bad. Garbage. Average. Bad. Average, I'd say. I think there's a lot of segments I do like in this, so I'm going to put it in good. I would honestly call this one kind of bad, but I think it could go in there. Cinderella, I think is great. I think it's a really good film. I don't think I love it, but I do really think it has a lot of things going for it. Alice in Wonderland, look, I'm going to put it in garbage, and I know that's controversial. It just didn't make a lot of sense to me. It's a film that feels like it has tonal whiplash, and that's kind of the point. It's Alice in Wonderland. None of it's really meant to make sense, but maybe they shouldn't make an Alice in Wonderland movie is more of the message that is said by this film. Because I don't feel anything. I'm like, cool, there's this event, there's this event. I don't really care. So that's where I'm putting Alice in Wonderland. Peter Pan, I think, is good. I'm probably going to change these around later. What do we have next? Lady and the Tramp. Honestly, amazing. Loved. Definitely goes there. Also, I don't know where they found all these posters, because a lot of these I'm not used to. Sleeping Beauty, I'm going to say, is great. I think it perfects Snow White. If I had to be honest, I'd probably put Bambi at the top. then Lady and the Tramp, then Sleeping Beauty, then Snow White. I feel like Walt Disney, factually, he made 3 princess movies during his lifetime. I'd call Sleeping Beauty his best from an artistic and creative standpoint. Yes, we don't get enough time with all the characters, but it's the most epic and mature, I think, out of all 3 of these. Then you have 101 Dalmatians. Great. Amazing. Loved it. I don't know if I'd put it there. We'll see. We'll put it right there. I honestly want to put it up here, but I don't think it deserves it. But it's my list, so I can put it wherever I want. Sword in the Stone. You know what? I'm going to change this. I'm going to change this to Forgetful. Don't care. Because garbage sounds really harsh. I admit. You know. Yeah, some of these films I think are actual garbage, like Three Caballeros. But I don't want to be that harsh to animated films like these. Jungle Book, I'd say, is great. I liked it a lot. Definitely would put it kind of at the back of the list with Pinocchio, maybe. I think I expected more from Pinocchio is my problem. Then we got, what is this one? Aristocats? That one I would say is good. I really like that one. I maybe need to redo this because this is a little bit too specific. Robin Hood, yeah, I'd say it's great. It's Robin Hood. It's Disney's Robin Hood. You can't really say you hate Robin Hood. I mean, you can. You're allowed to have that opinion, but I really think it's a good film. This is, like I said, I don't like this for what it is, but I'm gonna put it in average. I'm going to put it in average, and I really need to change these tiers. I'll just put it there in average. Rescuers, I'd say is good. Put it maybe at the top of the list here, then maybe this, then maybe this. Honestly, yeah, this kind of feels right. The Fox and the Hound. Now, I didn't do a review for The Fox and the Hound because I already made one, but I did rewatch it, and I love it. I think The Fox and the Hound is probably one of my favorite Disney movies, partly because it's about a dog and a fox, but I do genuinely really like the movie, and I just really think it works 95% of the time. Like I said, there's a few issues. Not killing off Chief is a decision that I don't really go with. Yes, it would have traumatized kids, and I totally understand it from a business perspective, but I think it would have made the message so much more impactful. And then all the stuff with kind of the birds and the hunting of the caterpillar, it's cute, it's fun, it's a nice, like, you know, palate cleanser in some cases, but it doesn't need to be there. The you know, kind of older adult in me is like, we don't need the cutesy animal stuff, because the whole rest of the film is like this, you know, dark friendship story. But I'm gonna put it in Amazing Great. With Fox and the Hound here, or with all these. Do I want to change any of these? Do I want to do anything with them? Amazing Loved, I think is fine. Great. Enjoyed. I think this is good. Enjoyed. Average. Bad. And then Forgettable, don't care. I want to change this to garbage, just so I can put a couple films in here that I truly think are awful. But I think that's kind of it. And then we'll just get rid of this category. And that leaves us with all 24 films put into their categories. You can kind of get an idea for my taste. I tend to like a lot more of the animal-focused ones, or great stories. Hey everyone, my name is Prism, and welcome back to another video on the Media Spotlight. Today I'm going to be doing another episode of Reviewing the Classics. This is episode number 20, where today we're going to be taking a look at Walt Disney's 25th animated feature, 1985's The Black Cauldron.
Legend has it, there was once a king so cruel and so evil that the gods feared him. Since no prison could hold him, he was trapped forever in the form of a great black cauldron.
The Horned King, that black-hearted devil.
Walt Disney Pictures presents The Black Cauldron. Escape into a world of darkness.
Are you coming?
Me? Go in there? Oh, no. It's a terrible place.
A world of excitement. A world of dreams.
Aaron, the greatest warrior, a true hero.
And through the magic of 70mm photography and 6-track Dolby sound, you will be transported to a fantasy event for the entire family.
Look, sire, it's working. Soon the Black Cauldron will be mine.
In the great tradition of Disney animated classics, now comes the newest Disney spectacle of them all, The Black Cauldron.
Now, 1985's The Black Cauldron, by all accounts, is the most problematic Disney animated feature from a production and financial standpoint. You have to understand that The Black Cauldron was a film that cost around $30 million, was delayed multiple times, re-edited a year before release, and despite all that effort to try and make a good film with all the delays and all the edits, it bombed. It bombed extraordinarily hard. It did not make its money back, and it's gone down in Disney history as the film that almost killed Walt Disney feature animation. And this legacy is not one that has been kind of solved through time. There are certain films that a lot of people say, oh, that was a box office bomb, but you know what, on retrospect, it's a great movie. Black Cauldron isn't that. Black Cauldron is Disney animation when they boil the frog in the pot. Everything kind of leading up to this film was definitely going in a darker direction. Right after Walt Disney's death, I would say with Robin Hood in '73, you start to kind of get this darker tone at the Disney studio. And then this continued with all the other upcoming features, most of them anyways, until 1981's The Fox and the Hound really showed you that they're willing to go to darker places. And The Black Cauldron is what happens when all the chains are taken off, and they're allowed to go up to 11, but have to be checked at the last second. The Black Cauldron is well known for being re-edited and being tampered with, and still, the film has a PG rating. However, I don't want to talk about the production too much of this film. I've stated enough, you get the idea. It's a film that's very unpopular and a box office failure. However, now I would like to take a chance to review the film. As I always do on reviewing the classics, I like to go through each animated Disney film and give it a rating of, 1 out of 10, just seeing where it lands on my scale of all the Disney animated features. So, we're going to begin by talking about the story. Now, the story of The Black Cauldron is a simple tale. It tells the story of Taran, an assistant pig keeper living in this mystical world. He is pig keeper to a pig named Henwin that has the magical ability to foresee the future. Specifically, she can be used to locate the Black Cauldron, the unholy power of this world. The Black Cauldron is an object so demonic and so twisted that the Horned King seeks to use it in order to unleash his undead army. And so, Taran, Henwig, and an unlikely group of friends must come together to stop the Horned King and save the world from the plague that is the Black Cauldron. Now, on the surface, this sounds like a pretty epic film. It's got a pretty simple plot, it's got good versus evil, and you could make something great out of this. However, as I mentioned, this is 5 books being put into one film, and this is also a rather short animated feature. I think it's around 83 minutes, maybe a little bit longer. Yeah, so they're going to tell 5 books in one movie with a short runtime. And I'd also like to add, that this script may be simple in understanding the plot, but it's too simple to be engaging. The Black Cauldron as a movie doesn't really have any kind of complexities to it. There's no sort of dynamic like The Lord of the Rings where each of these characters have to deal with temptation, or even Narnia, which has religious subtext for Aslan and the settings. The Black Cauldron's just kind of a movie where these fantastical things happen, and you know that this cauldron can't be unleashed or bad things will happen. Even the villain, the Horned King, which I do admire for being a pretty dark and creepy villain. I don't admire him saying that I think he's a great guy and I want to be with him. I'm saying that in a sense of, you do definitely get a feeling that he's a great character, that Disney did create one of their darkest villains, and they did really make something that is foreboding. But at the same time, this script isn't good for it. This script isn't great, because the story is too big and yet too small at the same time. There are certain things that happen in this film, like for example, the group of characters goes to the witches in, I think it's Morga? I can't remember the name of it. They basically go to these witches, and Taran trades his magical sword in order to get the Black Cauldron so they can destroy it. Well, that's a great idea, except you didn't think about the fact that you wouldn't be able to destroy the Black Cauldron, and you're also an idiot because now the Horned King can easily gain access to it. Which at that point I wonder, why the heck do you even have the pig? I guess to locate it in the swamps, but like, you could have rewritten this to remove the pig entirely. And really, the beginning of the film is probably the best part, because it's kind of setting up everything and you're kind of getting a feeling of who the characters are and things like that. For example, there is one particular sequence that I think really works, and that's when the pig is taken by the Horned King's dragons. I think that's a really good scene. It's got color, it's got intensity, it's got violence. It's a really good scene to kind of show you, hey, this is the Horned King. Hey, this is Disney. We're going to make something really dark and really terrifying. And I think the initial scene where, you know, Taran is knocked over by the dragon and he's got a little bit of blood on his lip kind of shows you, yeah, they're willing to go to places. But the script never explains those places. The script never is deep enough to make you care about what's going on. I could talk about the characters a little bit. And to be fair, I think all the characters, probably the best one is Gurgi. And when I say that, he isn't my favorite, but I think he's probably the one with the most development. Because he starts out the picture just kind of wanting munchies and crunchies, and by the end of the film, he's willing to sacrifice himself into the cauldron in order to stop its unholy powers, in order to defeat the Horned King. And there's one problem with this. If the Horned King had been successful, he could have just started the Black Cauldron all over again. So, I kind of am wondering, like, is there kind of a solution to end it from ever happening again, or could someone just kind of throw another human in and start this whole thing all over? That's kind of my concern with the plot. Like, okay, you set up this dark device, you say if you do this, you'll stop it, if you do this, you'll start it, but if you do that thing, you'll restart it. So is it just like one body starts it, one body ends it, and then one body starts it again? Because in that case, you've just made a device that anyone can get a hold of, and we'll go through this whole thing again. I also think that the feature is just kind of too dark for its own well-being. I don't really think there's a reason this story needs to be told. I don't think there's any moral to learn from this film. There's nothing like Narnia where you really get a sense of, like, this is a story of good versus evil. This is showing you in a physical representation what, you know, Jesus did with Aslan. Like, Aslan is meant to be the stand-in for Jesus. And so they're showing you these things, but there's a point to it because they're trying to get you to understand the morals and make it more approachable for a young audience. And Black Cauldron isn't doing any of that. There's no mystical ring, there's no mystical, you know, Aslan. There's nothing that is giving this a good versus evil plot above just standard lore rules. Like, oh, villain, hero, good versus evil. Yay, we wrote a good versus evil story. And when we get to the 11th hour and the Black Cauldron actually is active, it's one of the lamest sequences in the film. Now, this is because the film was edited a lot. They cut out a lot of this sequence because it was way too violent and way too dark. But they never put anything in that kind of got it back to being at least threatening. Because it's just kind of like the Cauldron board comes up, people get scared, and then that's it. Like, it's really lame. It's really boring. I mean, it's not boring. They definitely have the right music and visuals to make it creepy. But, like, come on. If you're gonna go all the way, you need to go all the way. Not saying R-rated, but I'm saying you at least need to make your villain threatening. And the sequence kind of doesn't do that, because it kind of cut out all the threatening bits. Because it was way too intense. Which, why did you make this feature if you thought it was going to be way too intense? I don't know. Black Cauldron's an interesting film. I did enjoy it a lot more on my rewatch. I definitely appreciate it for being something different. But I don't think I would ever go ahead and recommend it to anyone who wants a great movie to watch. Because this is not a great movie. This is Disney trying to be different without there being a deeper purpose for why this should be different. There isn't a story in here that you can really get behind. It's just kind of a story that exists, and you're along for the ride. And about all those cuts, yeah, I kind of side with the producers for cutting a lot of that footage, but at the same time, they maybe shouldn't have cut as much as they did, and they maybe should have tried to create some new footage to bring some intensity back into the picture. But that's my thoughts on Disney's 1985 disaster piece, The Black Cauldron. Tune in next time for 1986's The Great Mouse Detective, the film that would be a savior to Disney animation for actually making money at the box office. Bye, everyone! Alright, everyone. So we're back to finish up the tier list. As I said I would, we're going to put in the 25th Walt Disney Animation Studios feature. And as you can see, I kind of had to rebuild my tier list. It got deleted. But I have actually changed it so it just uses the letter tiers, except for boring, which I don't really know what letter that would be, because I don't consider them... I guess it would be D. Yeah, maybe I should just put D. My bad. Anyways, A, B, or S, A, B, C, D, E, F. You kind of get the idea. A lot more of the animal films at the top, the ones that I really like. But now to put in the Black Cauldron. And the Black Cauldron, I think is going to sit right at the top of maybe average. I would say this one's more enjoyable. I'm not sure, but it's going to look a little bit something like this. I didn't hate it, I didn't love it, but I thought it was kind of forgetful, but I did also kind of enjoy it, and I like its darker edge. I would even go ahead and maybe put it in the B category, but that also has other films that are a lot better. Maybe I'll put it at the back. I think that would work. Yes. That's how we're going to do this tier list, so every single animated film up to this point. That's it for now. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Reviewing the Classics. Let me zoom out so you can get a full perspective. This is every single Walt Disney Animation Studios feature film up to this point ranked. Thanks everyone. Bye for now.